Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc are still wrestling with Ferrari's 2025 challenger, the SF25, which is proving to be as unpredictable as ever despite a wave of recent upgrades. Reports suggest that the Italian outfit's latest creation continues to keep its drivers guessing, and not in a good way. With 2025 marking the final year under the current regulations, most teams played it safe and simply evolved their 2024 designs. Ferrari, however, tore up the blueprint and rolled out a radical all-new machine, but the gamble backfired early. Hamilton's disqualification at the Chinese Grand Prix after excessive plank wear was discovered set the tone for what would become a season-long headache. Forced to raise the car's ride height to stay within the rules, Ferrari compromised one of the most crucial aspects of performance: downforce generation. The result is a car that's not only slower but also twitchier, leaving Hamilton struggling more than Leclerc to keep things under control. In a bid to fix the problem, Ferrari introduced a new floor at the Austrian GP and followed it up with revised rear suspension in Belgium. Hopes were high that these changes would finally allow the SF25 to run at its intended height and restore rear-end stability. Instead, the frustration grew. Hamilton's weekends at Spa and Budapest were marred by ongoing issues, while Leclerc managed a pole in Hungary, but only by running unusually high tyre pressures late in the race to stop the car from bottoming out and chewing through its plank. According to Motorsport Italia, the SF25's woes are far from over. Ride height instability and erratic handling continue to chip away at driver confidence, making it impossible for either Hamilton or Leclerc to truly unlock the car's performance. Their report states, "The fact remains that the cure, floor plus suspension, has alleviated the difficulties, but it hasn't solved the red car's behavior, which remains unpredictable, especially under braking." The report notes that the unpredictability isn't just a rear-end problem, hinting that the front of the car could also be playing a role in the drama. It's possible that there's aerodynamic instability under braking that could arise from the front in certain extreme situations. Charles Leclerc insists it's far too early to judge Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari chapter, even as the seven-time world champion endures a rocky start in red. On paper, the numbers tell a stark story. Leclerc holds a commanding 10-4 edge over Hamilton in qualifying, averaging a grid spot of 5.1 compared to Hamilton's 8.4. Over a single lap, Leclerc has been quicker by an average of 0.241 seconds against the man who has more poles than anyone in history. Race day hasn't been kinder either. Leclerc leads their head-to-head 11-2, with average finishes of 5.0 to Hamilton's 6.5. And yet, despite the statistics, Leclerc isn't piling on the pressure. He acknowledges that adjusting to Ferrari after 12 seasons at Mercedes is no overnight task, and cautioned the media against rushing to conclusions. "I didn't have much expectation because I didn't know. As a driver, you watch the data of other drivers, but there's always the question mark. When you're off in one corner, how much is it coming from the driver and how much from the car? I was very curious to see where I would be against Lewis. Again, it's still very early on, and we're also not fighting for wins and pole positions, which changes things for a driver. For now, my only focus is to try and bring Ferrari back to the top. I'm happy with the way I'm performing, and I just need to keep going that way." It's probably too early to judge, as it's a new team for Lewis, and I'm sure he's still understanding and learning about all the different systems, the new systems for him. Away from the paddock, Hamilton used the summer break to reset. The Briton shared snapshots of a quiet escape to Greece with his loyal companion Roscoe, posting images of seaside sunsets and peaceful downtime in nature. His reflections hinted at a driver determined to regroup and return stronger for the second half of the season. "I'm always so grateful for this time, for the opportunity to rest and recharge. There's a lot I've been meditating on. Every one of us is up against so much, both individually and globally. It's so important that we embrace the light of truth and love and take care of ourselves so that we can better take care of others. We can't look away. We have to keep going, even when it's difficult. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur believes that when the sport enters its new era in 2026, the real battleground won't simply be power, it'll be drivability. And in a warning to rivals, he notes that even the best engine on the grid won't be enough to counter a game-changing innovation, should anyone pull off a Brawn GP double diffuser moment. The 2026 regulations promise one of Formula One's biggest shakeups in decades. Cars will be smaller, trimmed by 30 kilograms under the FIA's new nimble car concept, and will feature active aerodynamics, signaling the end of the DRS era. The power units, too, will undergo a transformation, a 50-50 split between electric deployment and internal combustion, fueled entirely by sustainable biofuels. Unsurprisingly, much of the conversation has revolved around engines, with experts convinced that mastering energy management will make or break the next generation of contenders. Asked about this, Max Verstappen told the media, "It will. Some races a bit more than others. But I mean, that's already happening also now. But for sure, next year that will be a bit more. Time will tell, of course, if that's a good thing or a bad thing." But Vasseur isn't convinced. The story will be written solely in kilowatts and fuel flow. Speaking to Automotor and Sport, he stressed that drivability, how the car puts its performance on the road through balance, consistency, and predictability, will be the decisive factor. No one can predict what will happen with such a rule change. No one in 2009 could have guessed that Brawn GP would be 4/10 ahead of everyone else with its double diffuser. And they came out of nowhere. This time, the rule change is even bigger. Everything is changing. Chassis, drive, fuel, tires, sporting regulations. You can make a difference in each of these areas. We are facing a new challenge with the engine. Now it's power that counts. Next year, it will be drivability. One engine might be good at Monza, another at Monte Carlo or Budapest. Almost like it used to be when the turbos competed against the naturally aspirated engines. With such sweeping changes on the horizon, the potential for a shakeup in the pecking order is real. Ferrari will be desperate to seize the moment and finally put an end to a title drought stretching all the way back to 2008. We are good at reacting. The uncertainty is what makes next season so exciting from the spectator's point of view. Let's say someone gains half a second by making better use of the tires or exploiting a loophole in the chassis. It will be difficult to compensate for that with a better engine. As the summer break wraps up, do you think Ferrari can hit the ground running? Comment your prediction down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.